evening. Good evening. I have some notes with me. My apologies. I'm not very good at memorizing. I have to tell you, I never wanted to go into politics. I just desired to see some real change, and I felt that I had a responsibility to help bring some of it about. 10 years ago, a community-based organization, Chinatown Community Development Center, offered me a position as a community organizer. And I accepted the job, motivated to be a part of building a stronger neighborhood, changing the face of leadership here in San Francisco, and bringing more people to the table. I fell in love with organizing. Growing up as a kid of immigrant parents in New York City, I actually painfully experienced how people often treated immigrants and my parents, and saw how they treated immigrants as foreigners or with disrespect because they didn't have a command of the English language. My first apartment growing up was a below market rate, publicly subsidized one-bedroom apartment, which I shared with my parents and many times with my grandparents as well. Affordable housing gave my family the stability that they needed to do things that they wanted to do. It allowed my father to work full-time and go to night school for 7 years to earn a JD. It allowed my mother to eventually open a small business, a clothing store, which I grew up in, my after-school program, and my summer school. I know the importance of public education, and I also know the importance of affordable housing. They give families and individuals an opportunity to succeed. And yes, you still have to work hard, but how can you work hard if you don't get breaks? Since I was 13, I could not ignore inequity and unfairness that I saw around me. And I was moved to service, primarily actually by two issues initially: homelessness and race relations. Growing up, I saw homeless individuals every day. When I woke up in the morning, they would sleep on my sidewalk, and when I'd go home from school, they would ask me for change while I was waiting for the bus. And I could not understand why there were people that were homeless and living on the streets. And after doing some research, I found that the majority of our homeless men are war veterans that fought for our country. And I found out that over half of our women and children who are homeless are victims of domestic violence and sexual abuse. So I joined the Coalition for the Homeless, and when I was 14, they offered me my first job. I was also moved by race relations. While I was growing up, there were a lot of protests and riots and incredible misunderstanding between the African and Asian American community, and I'm sure many of you remember this, and it still continues today. It saddened me to see two communities who wanted to take care of their families, wanted quality schools, wanted stable jobs, clean and safe streets, fight over crumbs, the few public dollars that were thrown to us to help us succeed in life. And so I joined a youth program that brought together young people of color so that we could learn about one another and fight for a bigger piece of the pie. And 15 years ago, I came to Stanford, attracted by the image of California, the warm beaches, the sun, the exoticism to someone who's a New Yorker, and of course our diversity. Well, at least I was right about the diversity. So it was only natural that I accepted position as an organizer at CCDC. And so that I could continue to be a small part of the movement to empower more young people and more families in our communities to make a change in our neighborhoods. And we organized monthly alleyway cleanups. We organized services to seniors that lived in our SRO buildings. And we went to City Hall, we went to the electorate, and we asked for another affordable housing bond. We asked for sprinkler and mailbox legislation in our SRO buildings. We asked for more parks, longer meetings, and a central subway that would connect the Bayview all the way to Chinatown and North Beach. And I still did not want to enter into politics, because I didn't view it as a vehicle of the change that I wanted to see. But as an organizer, I learned and watched. I started to see the difference that a local elected official could make, especially one that was grounded and that worked in the community. I saw the importance of having a seat at the table on how we spend our public dollars and how we determine our budget. The real document of a city that shows who we care about and who we serve. So I ran for the school board, and many of you were there with me. And thank you so much for your support. We were able to run one of the largest grassroots volunteer campaigns in the city, and I came in first place. Thank you. On the school board, my priorities have been about closing the achievement gap, reforming our student discipline process so we can retain students in our schools, developing a plan for our surplus property so they can be an asset to our community and generate revenue, and also redesign a student assignment process that many have been unhappy with for a decade. I also decided to go to law school. I went to UC Berkeley School of Law. I see some of my classmates here. Go there. And became an attorney at Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights, where we work to enforce and monitor good laws and policies intended to benefit our communities. Having now worked as an organizer, as an elected official, and as a civil rights attorney, I can say that San Francisco can be proud of the changes that we have fought for and won. But there is still much more to do, and many more people we must serve. And worse, the political process has remained much the same. And when I talk to residents throughout the district, the one common thread I hear is that people are disappointed and disillusioned with the process and the bickering. We can make the political process better here in San Francisco. I am part of an elected body that used to bicker viciously. We used to make front page headlines weekly in our city newspaper. And now, you never read about us. Why? Because we actually have a process that is sane. It allows for disagreement, but at the end of the day, it is a dialogue, not a power match. And I want to recognize, because we have some school board members here in the audience today, our Vice President, Hydra Mendoza, and our Sandra Hero, and Norman Lehman. I am proud to be a part of an elected body which has proved that we can do things better here in San Francisco. People have asked me now why I'm leaving the Board of Education. And just so you know, our #1 priority in the district is closing the achievement gap, which is truly the opportunity gap. And we have done a hell of a job. In the last 2 years, we have seen the largest gain in our lowest performing students that we have seen in a decade. I also had an opportunity to be on the board that hired progressive, strong leadership that is committed to San Francisco, committed to quality instruction, and believes in working with families and collaborating with communities, a novel concept of a school district. But our educators have a tough job. They are asked to make the lack of affordable housing, unemployment, poverty, violence not matter in the classroom. And I found that many of our kids can't even learn because of what is going on in their neighborhoods. I can do much more to close the opportunity gap as a city supervisor. And I want to make City Hall functional too. So here's why I'm running for office. 2 reasons. One is to build safe, strong communities and make our neighborhoods complete. And 2 is to invest in smart planning that brings more opportunities and a safety net to our middle class and working class communities. Like many District 6 residents, I was attracted to this district because it is exciting. Neighborhoods are forming, developing, changing. We are attracted to the dynamism of District 6 and a chance to shape the future of both emerging and historic neighborhoods as we determine streetscapes, open spaces and parks, the future of public transit, Central Subway, high-speed railroad, Caltrain, and be close to downtown and arts and entertainment. We have an opportunity to make District 6 a model neighborhood of the future and of smart growth for San Francisco. We want to lift up the lives of working class families and middle class families of everyone, whether in a new neighborhood like South Beach and Rincon Hill or historic neighborhoods like the Tenderloin and Western Soma. The mantra of our campaign is to make our neighborhoods complete. We have more pedestrian accidents here in District 6 than anywhere in the city, I often feel unsafe walking around with cars speeding to the freeway and from downtown. We need to prioritize certain streets as pedestrian streets, on 2nd, on Folsom, on Taylor, and Turk. We need to make more streets 2 ways and widen sidewalks, and when we can't do that because it's too expensive, we need to encourage innovative programs like park lifts, which convert parking spots to open space for people. We have more real estate for parking than we do for parks and open space here in San Francisco. I'd also like to see a Soma alleyway master plan, similar to one in Chinatown, where we explore the diverse uses of our alleyways and make them a vibrant part of the fabric of our neighborhood. I'd also like to see a family youth zone in District 6, where we prioritize rec centers and services for our families. Other cities can serve as a model too. When I visited another one, I observed a night cafe, which actually was only open from 10 p.m. onwards. And it was open for young people in need, in transition, and that were homeless. But all the cashiers and the wait staff were social workers. And they were able to build relationships of trust with the young people so they could connect them to the services that they need, similar to what Rob was talking about earlier, that he does with his street outreach team at the Crossroads. Bicycling magazine named San Francisco the 6th best city to bike in. We can make San Francisco #1. That means more bike lanes, colored and segregated. We also need connected bike pathways that connect from the east to the west and north and south, and more bike parking on the street. Muni has got to get better. 9 out of 10 residents ride on Muni at least once a week. But it is headed to a downward spiral of declining revenue and ridership. Muni needs more money, but we also need to make more out of the dollars that we have. That means we need to go a little bit faster than the current average 8.1 miles per hour that our buses take. A faster system means more service with the same amount of resources. Second, investing in smart planning that helps more opportunities for our communities. It has been 14 years since we passed an affordable housing bond. And we used up those funds 10 years ago to build close to 2,000 affordable housing units that went to seniors, the formerly homeless, and working class families. We also created a rotating one-time fund for first-time middle-class home buyers to be able to own their first home. We need more of this. We also need to invest in jobs and small businesses which bring long-term employment to the city. Small businesses provide 60 to 70% of new jobs here, and we want to encourage innovative entrepreneurship which makes our neighborhoods unique. Restaurants like Tin and like Farmer Brown that are here, that go into neighborhoods that businesses are scared to go into. We need to encourage businesses like that, like Passion Cafe on 6th Street, where 80% of their employees are from within 400 yards of their businesses. And we must invest in effective job training programs which bring skills to our residents so they can compete in tech and finance and tourism and services. I'd also like to see San Francisco fund the longest school year here in California. And fund summer school, something that many districts have had to cut. This is considered to be the most progressive city in the country. Let's also make it the city which provides the most opportunities for all of us to succeed. So please join us. I cannot win without you. I'm not a part of anyone's machine, and I'm certainly not a part of anyone's master plan. So please join us in making a better San Francisco with a new process that is both collaborative, independent, and serves us all. Thank you very much.
Excited about District 6. Hi, my name is